What is he even? How did something like that father a normal human child? The chief held the child closer. You don't have to answer everything if you don't want it here. The hell they don't. We need to solve this case. There is nothing to solve anymore. You heard the kid. Then who's to say that thing won't start killing humans? Who's to say it's not just going to go from town to town, killing each and every person it comes across? He won't, the child said. In between officers yelling at each other from across the room, the child had stopped crying, mostly, and got up to give context to the situation. You don't know that, an officer began, but was interrupted by the child raising their voice for the first time. You're the one that doesn't know anything. Everyone was silent, giving the child a chance to speak. He's not interested in humans. He only wants things that, according to him, shouldn't exist. Ghosts are dead. They're supposed to stay that way. He also wants me, because I wasn't supposed to be able to exist. Now just what do you mean by that, dear? The chief asked, trying to coax them into sitting back down again next to her. He wants me gone because I'm not a normal human, but I'm also not just a monster. My mother was a human. Is that what he is then? A monster? I don't really know what he is. I just know he's not a ghost, and he's not human. Normal humans can't see him, and most people don't know that things like him exist. Dear, where's your mother now? She's dead. She died when I was born. He killed her, and her ghost as well, the child said, stone-faced. Now it was the chief that started crying, and the child's turn to comfort her instead. He didn't know that I survived. The ghost took care of me in the old house where she had me. They were her friends too. They held a funeral for her and visited her grave with me every year. So, what do we do now? The only way to kill him is with something as powerful as him, or stronger. Don't you have any of his power? You could do it. Kill their own father? Are you crazy? What else is there to do? Just let him keep killing? He's going to try and kill me next, the child said, unless I do something about it. The chief was firmly against it, and had to be held back by all of the officers to let the child go. She knew that even if the child could kill him, they would never come back alive from that fight. She was right. Police officers investigated after them but found nothing more than specks of light floating around the house. The smell of decay was gone, and there was no more blood on the walls. But the child was nowhere to be found. It had been weeks. Every officer was on the case of finding the missing child with no luck. Everyone assumed the worst, although no one would say it to her face. One night, unable to sleep during a thunderstorm, she made up her mind about what to do. The large cat had taken up permanent residence in their home since the day the child had come back from the hospital. She named him Tiny. She sent a message in the middle of the night. Who do I talk to about buying the old house? She picked up the large cat and went to try and sleep. Within days, the deal was signed. Her old house went quickly. An elderly couple had been wanting to buy it for years. The details hadn't been fully sorted with the bank yet, but she knew that she could move in for the time being. So she did. Every officer helped her, even the ones who weren't originally on the case. They cleaned the house from top to bottom, took the entirety of their day off. They dropped off some basic furniture, installed a washing machine, and made sure all the plugs worked. All that was left was redecorating the place. After peeling off the old wallpaper, the house looked rather sad. I can't thank you all enough for everything you've done today. We'll get back to work tomorrow, but for tonight, let's all celebrate. And also, take a moment of silence. Everyone was quiet for some time. A short, beautiful eulogy followed, and they all went out together to try and have a good time. But everyone felt the loss and the grief, and no one could blame her. At night, the chief lay in her bed with the cat. She'd been unable to sleep well for weeks, but the day had taken all of her remaining strength, and she was out before her head hit the pillow. She woke up to bright sunlight and something holding her hand. "Tiny?" she asked, dazed and confused. "No," she heard the child say. Tears welled up in her eyes and she jumped up to hold the visage of the child's ghost. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course, dear," she said. "I have a question for you too." "You ask first," they said. "What's your favorite color? I've been trying to decide what color to make the wallpaper." "I like rainbows," the child said, their face beaming. "We'll have bright rainbow colors in every room, I promise. We're going to make this house your home, dear." She held their face, still teary-eyed. "You wanted to ask me something? Can I call you Mom?" In between sobs, she nodded yes. The next day, she went to buy any and all bright colored wallpaper that the store sold. Thank you for listening and watching. All links and references are in the description below.